Good morning, Fort Green. I'm going to be the celebrant for the service this morning. And I have been around Moscow and now Pullman for a few years, so my face should probably be familiar. In fact, I've only lived in the Pacific Northwest my entire life, Washington or Idaho. I live to drink in the sights of massive forested mountains, and I get excited when I feel the earthquake under my feet or when a volcano decides to go off, or when a hairy Sasquatch runs across the highway. In my 67 years, I describe myself as being quite a goal setter, a scheduler, and a competitive planner. I had a master list for my life, the whole thing lined out what I was going to achieve. Let's see, college, check. Second floor corner, home ownership. Oh my gosh, I've done it all. And then I realized I still have more years to live. What to do? So I started at that point to listen to a little wee voice inside of me. What brings me joy to do for myself and to do for others? What brings me joy to do? Well, I found out what really floats my boat is adding colors. It could be in a garden, it could be on a dessert platter, or it might be. And you can never have too much color. I would like to extend a special welcome to all of those out there that are joining us for the first time. We are very glad to have you here with us. So if you've come in person, you've probably received a welcome packet. If you have not, we have members of our welcoming committee that are wearing yellow name tags, and those people can help you out. Yellow tag people, hands up. There's Sarah in the front row. Okay, I see you. Okay, thank you. And you can always speak to any of the members that have a name badge as well. So, in the welcoming packet, there's a little card that has some contact information on. We'll be able to get in touch with you and find out what your needs might be and how this might be a community for you as well. If you're joining us online, because we do broadcast our service in Zoom, if you're joining us online, you can go to, in the chat box, there's contact information, or in the UUCP website. We're very well documented. So whether you're new or not, and whether it's a special day for some of you, you're invited to come and have fellowship down in the room below us after the service. We've got lots of treats. So, will you see the words of welcome up there? Cite those with me now. Whether this is your first or your 1000th Sunday with us, whether you strolled, rolled, zoomed, ran, or danced in, we are glad you chose to be with us. There are many people, many beliefs, identities, origins, sexualities, and genders. All are welcome here, and they surely are. And now we're going to reach out to those members of ours that are dialed in on Zoom today. So first of all, if those of you in the room here join us, let's say hello, and if you'd wave, it's an opportunity to say hi. It's good to see you. And those of you at home, make sure that you turn your camera on so as well. Hi, everybody. Give us a wave on Zoom. Hey. Yay. I think I did it backwards. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay. So, I do have a couple announcements I see. The first one is that if you helped out during the Ren Fair, Ken worked so hard on making that booth a success this year. It was wonderful. And so the people who brought their baked goods, there are your pans are downstairs in the kitchen, so go pick them up, take them home. The second announcement is that at our first American Red Cross blood drive in the building, and we were down on the floor below, and we packed it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Pam organized it.
Woohoo! That was the red I brought. Because ordinarily I'm a long-time blood donor, but I'm going through radiation treatments right now, and I can't donate blood again for a year. And so this was what I could do to help it. And we had a goal of 23 blood draws. We got 26. They could not believe it. And we had wonderful live musicians. Where's Scott? There you are. Oh, thank you very much. And yes, and Janet and Dwayne, and they are in Texas at their granddaughter's graduation right now. We preface the service by acknowledging that the church that we're in, indeed the county or the community that we're in.
Hold on. Okay, so were you gonna do the drawing? And then we have Ginger doing an announcement.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Okay, everybody, let's see.
You want me to hold? I can be Vanna. I'll be Vanna White.
So the thank you, Elizabeth. You're lovely. It's the double rings of the Unitarian Universalist and the chalice, which is symbols of our church. And everybody who donated blood is eligible to win. Oh my gosh. Kat, are you here, Kat? Kat Clancy, you are the winner. Come on up. Yay. And Ginger, would you have an announcement?
I don't think I can top that. We should have done that last. Well, as you can tell, it's like summer suddenly. We went from snow to the July. I don't know how we did that. But religious exploration, our children's programming continues through the summer, and we need your help. Every week in the summer, we're going to have somebody offer something that they love to do and introduce it to our children. So if you love art or yoga or poetry or taking a walk and looking at flowers, anything that you just want to share with our kids, that I could help make that into a lesson plan for our children during the summer. So if you want to come talk to me, we literally have every week free. So you get to be the first one to choose your favorite Sunday. That's not true. We are doing a Kamiak Butte hike on July 2nd, but that's the only one that we have plans for. So come and talk to me if you have anything you think that you want to share, nothing too big or too small. And we can make this summer a really fun one for our kids. Thanks.
Thank you, Ginger. That's our Director of Religious Education, and she's wonderful. She's a lifelong member of our church. So now we preface our service today on acknowledging that the building that we're in, the community that we're in, is all built upon the ancestral homelands of the Nimiipuu Indian Nation. They were called the Nez Perce by the French-speaking traders. And another French name was also given to the other native tribe, the Coeur d'Alene, who go by the Shijutsit. So let's pause to remember that the ground we live on is sacred to them, and ground that was stolen, and the Treaty of 1855 that was not honored. May we remember that there are ways that we can reach out with courage to help restore the community, our region, and the earth with the air and the water we breathe and drink. Now we're hoping that fans that are at home with their Zoom have a candle or have a special chalice candle, something to light it with. It's time to light our candles, and we'd like to do it together. So let's repeat the words. Are you kids doing okay? Thank you very much. Let's repeat our words together for the chalice. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek and seek to share.
Good morning, everyone. I have this vision, this idea, this crazy dream. I imagine a world where every person is born into a family and a community and a society and a world that supports them and gives them freedom and attention so that they can bloom and their unique gifts and insights can bless the world in fullness. This is one of those goals that we will probably never actually reach, but we still keep aiming for it, in my opinion, because we all lose out when people's creative gifts, when their authentic selves, are ignored, under-resourced, or trampled on. Because the environment can sometimes be less than perfectly hospitable, bringing our creative gifts forward anyway becomes an act of courage and of faith. So today we'll be invited to reflect on our gifts. We'll recommit to the process of bringing them forth. Our opening words are by my colleague, the Reverend Gretchen Haley. Hold nothing back. Bring everything you are and long for, all you love, all you fear to lose. The songs that live in your bones, the stories of your breath, the ache that comes to you in the night. Make this time holy, offering the beauty of your beating heart breaking and breaking open again. Bring it all here to the altar we've learned to make together, the sacred space we claim, the insistent thread of love and loyalty we refuse to let go. Invoke now the spirit of righteous anger and grief that you keep at bay yet still burns inside within you. Know this fire as your inheritance. Remember yourself here, in rites ancient and new. Feel in the circle all those who have fought for freedom, not just for one, but for all. The steady march of courageous love that lives here and now calls us on. Come, let us worship together. And I invite you to rise in body or in spirit to sing number 1007 in the teal hymnal if you want to read the music. Otherwise, the words are on your screen. There's a river. Okay, I guess I'll do this next part. We're good. We're good. All right, so we're going to take a moment now to engage in the practice of generosity. For those of you who are able to make a financial contribution, the logistics are on the screens. We typically give away all of the cash from our Sunday offerings to local charities whose missions align with our values, a program we call the Month of Sundays. This month, the recipient is Weekend Food for Kids, which is actually a program established as a partnership between this congregation and St. Mark's Episcopal Church down the street. Every summer, the school district has a summer lunch program and provides free lunch to anyone who needs it. And then we provide food to last through the weekend. So every Friday, from the time school lets out to the time it starts again, we distribute around 150 bags of food, enough to get kids. Please indicate Month of Sundays on your check or from the online drop-down menu. In the spirit of love and for the continuing work of this church, we'll now take some time and practice generosity together. In our tradition, it's significant that we welcome anyone and everyone who would like to be a part of our community. There's no test, you don't have to pre-qualify. If you want to be a part of what we're creating together, you can be. When a person knows that this is their spiritual home, the place where they belong, some choose to officially join. People take many different paths to becoming members of this church. Some join quite soon after they arrive. Others participate as friends of the congregation for months or years before deciding to join. Sometimes past members return and rejoin. Joining this congregation signals a commitment to being on a spiritual journey that goes beneath the surfaces of life and a desire to share your journey with others. So I'd like to invite our new members forward, the people who are joining today, to come forward now. And I'd also invite forward Kat Clancy, representative of the Board of Trustees, and Elizabeth Berlinger, the chair of our membership committee. So let me introduce our new members. Okay, let's see. Andrew, do you want to go first? Okay, so if you'll come over here and sign the book, we have some gifts to give you, and I'll introduce you to the community while you sign. Andrew grew up in a UU church, the Jefferson UU Union Church in Golden, Colorado. He lives in Moscow and works for it, is based in Portland. They have a collaborative arrangement with the University of Idaho where he has a lab. He works on a variety of fisheries projects in the region with Native American tribes. Welcome, Andrew. Hey, Ashley and Kane, you guys want to come over? So Ashley Anderson grew up in Redmond, Washington, and graduated. Go ahead and sign the book, and then you get your presents. Ashley grew up in Redmond and graduated from Washington State in 2021 with a BS in psychology and a BA in sociology and a minor in philosophy. She'll be starting a master's program in clinical mental health counseling at Eastern Washington University in September of 2023 and intends to become a counselor for LGBTQ+ youth, particularly transgender youth. She enjoys playing video games and having long discussions about philosophy and social issues. Her husband, Kane, grew up in Renton, Washington, and graduated from Washington State University in 2021 with a BS in data analysis and a minor in business. He grew up in a deaf family, making him a CODA, child of deaf adults. He enjoys building and painting miniatures and scale models, playing video games, and playing tabletop games with his friends like Warhammer and Pathfinder. I didn't realize that. My son is a huge Warhammer 40K fan, so we're going to have you over for dinner. Okay, Zena, you've already... Welcome, Kane and Ashley. Okay, Zena, you already actually signed, so you just get your prezzies. Zena and her husband landed in Moscow due to the presence and assistance of her son, Josh Hartung, and his wife, Christine, who's also being introduced as a new member today. They expect to live out their days here, close by Idaho, with Josh's kids being her grandkids. The expectation is that Zena will precede them in that eventuality, and in the meantime, she hopes to be of some use, some service to them and our community. Welcome, Zena. And Christine Pedersen. Do you want me to just introduce myself? You know, I pulled it. It's cool. I pulled it off your website. I'm good that way. Yeah. So Christine's a former teacher who now focuses on her work as a sleep specialist and mindful parenting consultant. She's also a fabulous yoga teacher and mother to her 2 girls, June and Ella. So, as she puts it on her website, her purpose and passion in this life is to help make the world a kinder and brighter place, one exhausted family at a time. Welcome, Christine. All right, and now we're going to covenant together. So Unitarian Universalism is a covenantal faith rather than a creedal one. This means that we don't all agree on what we believe, but we do agree on how we are going to be with one another, how we're going to treat one another. And so this is a covenant between the members of the congregation, the leadership of the congregation, and our new members. And new members, when it gets to your part, we've got these little yellow cheat sheets so that you don't have to turn around and look at the screen. The rest of you, it'll be up there. Okay.
You have accepted the responsibility of membership. You have found that you resonate with the ideals of Unitarian Universalism and that you want to commit to these ideals and live with them.
The responsibility of becoming a member is a lifetime process. We are glad that you chose to be one of us. May you find the years ahead to be filled with the hope and vision that your membership promises.
May you find here both sustenance and fodder for growth. May you share your thoughts and your stories, and that the community might be enriched by the unique wisdom that you carry.
We embrace membership in this community as both a gift and a commitment. May our strands of connection grow ever stronger day by day and year by year as we join with you in living lives of service.
Together, we pledge to embody our Unitarian Universalist principles in our everyday life, blessed by the freedom that encourages us to live with authenticity and integrity, secure in the knowledge that we are members of a faith community that helps us to live our highest ideals. We commit to act on our belief that all are worthy and all are welcome. All right, let's give one last round of applause for our new members. We're so much richer to have you with us. And now let's enter into a time of meditation with these words by the Reverend Marcus Liefert. O you who are makers, makers of beauty, of paintings and pottery and sculpture, blessed is the making. You who make with hands and hearts and minds, who make out of breath and bones and blood human lives, blessed are the makers. Blessed are those who make us laugh, who make jokes and faces and toys. Blessed are those who make messes, who make trouble and friends, and when needed, make up. Blessed are those who make do, who make it last, make it work, make beds, and make time for others. Blessed are those who make love, who make out and make more and make mistakes. Blessed are those who make coffee and tea, who make conversation, who make meaning in the face of tragedy, who make merriment and awaken joy. Blessed are those who make peace, for they shall inherit the earth. Let's rest in silence for just a moment. blessed also are those who make music. Amen, and blessed be.
When I go outside at night, look up and the stars are bright. Sometimes I lay on the ground and imagine that the sky is down. If the earth should then let go, fall into the stars below, fall to the stars below.
When I see a red sunset, in its quiet splendor I reflect. The sun's not going down at all. The earth is turning somersaults. And through a sunlit sea it trails. We are on that great big whale, riding on that great big whale. When I try to grasp the simple fact of this existence, think of all the fantasies and fairy tales and wishes. None strike me as more unlikely or magnificent than this is.
Hands and faces seen up close, galaxies through telescopes, crimson hillsides in the fall, more astounding than them all. Pondering minds with eyes that see, these are deep mysteries, deep mysteries.
When I try to grasp the simple fact of this existence, think of all the fantasies, fairy tales and wishes. None strike me as more unlikely or magnificent than this is. Like a
Strange enchanting play of impossible dimensions, the setting and the stage running years in all directions. The breathless scenes and storylines defy comprehension. When I think of all the roles, this production, all I know is I'm in the cast, but could it be I'm also in the front row seat to sit in my amazement gaze, to ooh and ah and sigh and say, my, what a wonderful play. My, my, my. What a wonderful play.
Thank you so much. That was gorgeous. Our reading this morning is by Lucia Capaccione. When you create, you lose yourself in your creation. Time seems to stand still and all else is forgotten. You participate in the divine play that is creativity. These moments offer a glimpse of who you really are, a being fashioned in the image and likeness of God. Like the source of all creation, you are a creator too. It is your divine birthright. The person who says, I'm not creative, is uttering blasphemy. The truth is that you are the creative self expressing through the human vessel of your body, emotions, mind, and soul. Creativity flows through you as a universal life force called by many names throughout the ages: Chi, Prana, Shakti, the Holy Spirit. Losing yourself in this divine embrace of the creative process, you disappear. Your ego or limited sense of separateness vanishes, and you emerge into the vast ocean that is creativity. This is an altered state of intuitive awareness in which you renounce control from your head alone. Instead, you allow the creative self to flow through your heart, your body, and your intuition. Then you're taken to places you can never go in your ordinary waking state. This road leads eventually to moments of divine bliss described by ecstatic poets like Rumi, Kabir, and Lali. Shakespeare wrote, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women," and we would add non-binary folks, "merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man," or let's change that to one person, "in his or their time, plays many parts." I'm just going to update the language and read it through again. "All the world's a stage, and all the people merely players. They have their exits and entrances, and one person in their time plays many parts." These lines are part of a soliloquy voiced by a character named Jacques, who stands to one side of the action during the play and offers wry asides and comments. And it makes me think about the many parts we play, the way we're a star of our own lives, but we're playing bit roles in other people's stories. I think about the exits and entrances, the people we love, the people we lose. I think about the times we stand off to one side and observe or even judge the action. I think about the different strategies we use to come to terms with our lack of control over events as they unfold. I think about the wild, unpredictable turns that life takes. I mean, who would have thought that wearing masks to protect against a deadly virus would become a political football? I mean, seriously, you can't make this stuff up. So we are each the writer, director, and star of our own lives. We're also the editor, or at least our brain is. On some level, we're picking and choosing which memories to hold on to and which to lose track of somewhere in our neural net. We're deciding which stories we're going to tell and share, and which ones we're just going to file in the back of a dusty file cabinet labeled "Not My Best Moment." But we don't necessarily have control over the plot points. Life has this way of throwing us curveballs. Our plans go sideways. Our impulses sometimes overwhelm our best intentions. Our actions have impacts we couldn't have predicted. And while I do sometimes joke that the world would be a much better place if someone would just put me in charge, the truth is, I can barely keep track of where I left my cell phone. If I were actually in charge of anything, it would probably be an utter disaster. Still, it's normal to want our lives to unfold in ways that align with the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. We crave predictability. It feels safer to believe that we're in charge of our own destiny, in control of our lives and our circumstances. To move us past that pesky, persistent desire for control, we might consider approaching our lives less as a scripted play and more like improv. Now, how many of you have watched improv? So it can be utterly hilarious. It can also fall kind of flat sometimes. Good improv comedians are quick thinking. They trust their instincts. They do make mistakes, sometimes go in directions that don't work, but they've trained themselves to move on rather than dwelling on what they could have or should have said or done. Improv requires the participants to stay fully in the present moment. In her book, Bossy Pants, Tina Fey introduces the 4 rules of improv. The first rule is to agree. Faye writes, the first rule of improvisation is agree. Always agree and say yes. When you're improvising, this means you're required to agree with whatever your partner has created. So if we're improvising and I say, freeze, I have a gun, and you say, that's not a gun, it's your finger. You're pointing your finger at me. Our improvised scene has ground to a halt. But if I say, freeze, I have a gun, and you say, the gun I gave you for Christmas? You bastard! Then we've started a scene because we've agreed that my finger is in fact a Christmas gun. Now, if we translate that rule to ways that we might respond creatively to life, we would say, accept reality. Don't try to argue with what is. So, we might think about the current discomfort with critical race theory. There's an approach that says, don't teach the truth, let's shield ourselves and our children from having to learn anything that contradicts our opinions or threatens our privilege. That is not the creative response. A creative response looks like, okay, these are the facts. We're going to let them in. We're going to let them change. We're going to let them into our heads. We're going to let them into our hearts. We're going to let them into our worldview. We're going to let ourselves be changed by the truth. Faye's second rule of improv is to say yes and. She writes, you're supposed to agree and then add something of your own. If I start a scene with, I can't believe it's so hot in here, and you just say, yeah, we're kind of at a standstill. But if I say, I can't believe it's so hot in here, and you say, what did you expect? We're in hell. Or if I say, I can't believe it's so hot in here, and you say, yes, this can't be good for the wax figures. Or if I say, I can't believe it's so hot in here, and you say, I told you we shouldn't have crawled into that dog's mouth. Now, we're getting somewhere. To me, yes and means don't be afraid to contribute. It's your responsibility to contribute. Always make sure you're adding something to the discussion. Your initiations are worthwhile. So if we were to apply the second rule of improv to life, what we get is this commitment to take our ideas and bring them into the light, to share them. We must make a commitment to do something, anything. It means we must embrace our capacity to impact reality, believe in our capacity to make a difference, rather than numbing out or sinking into learned helplessness. In other words, what we do matters. The third rule of improv is to make statements. Faye writes, this is a positive way of saying, don't ask questions all the time. If we're in a scene and I say, who are you? Where are we? What are we doing here? What's in that box? I'm putting pressure on you to come up with all the answers. In other words, whatever the problem, be part of the solution. Don't just sit around raising questions and pointing out obstacles. Now, this can be a tough one for Unitarian Universalists. We love our questions. You know the Lenny Bruce joke, how do you know when you've ticked off the Unitarians? They burn a question mark on your lawn. But we can't get to know each other or function even if we don't find and articulate our answers to the important questions that life raises. We have to form opinions. We have to create frameworks so that we can make sense of reality. And it's okay to get the answers wrong. As I've said before, the best we can hope for a lot of the time are answers that are somewhat adequate for me for now. But those somewhat adequate answers are what lead us through the complex and frustrating situations that life presents us with. Last but not least, the fourth rule of improv is there are no mistakes, only opportunities. Faye writes, if I start a scene as what I think is very clearly a cop riding a bicycle, but you think I am a hamster in a hamster wheel, guess what? Now I'm a hamster in a hamster wheel. I'm not going to stop everything to explain that it was really supposed to be a bike. Who knows, maybe I'll end up being a police hamster who's been put on hamster wheel duty because I'm too much of a loose cannon in the field. In improv, there are no mistakes, only beautiful, happy accidents. Now, what this looks like in real life is staying in the present rather than living in the past. When we get stuff wrong, when life surprises us, or even when life kicks us when we're down, we just keep on keeping on. This looks like forgiving ourselves, looks like forgiving each other. It looks like starting from where we are rather than trying to backpedal or undo what's already been done. It looks like learning and growing. And when our answers turn out to be not so adequate anymore, it looks like finding new answers. So, to recap, the rules of improv are: agree, accept reality, yes and, accept our capacity to impact reality, make statements, form opinions, and create frameworks that help us make sense of reality, and there are no mistakes. Keep on keeping on, learning and growing and reconstructing our frameworks of understanding as we go. The theological concept that most closely parallels improv, the improv approach to life, comes out of process theology, creative interchange. This is a term coined by Henry Nelson Wyman. Creative interchange is a way of understanding how the universe evolves and changes through relationship. Dr. Wyman was a philosopher, theologian, and professor of religion who taught at Occidental College in the University of Chicago. He was raised Presbyterian, but he joined a Unitarian Universalist church after he retired. The question at the center of his spiritual search was, what operates in human life with such character and power that it will transform us as we cannot transform ourselves, saving us from evil and leading us to the best that human life can ever reach? Can I read that again? Yes. What operates in human life with such character and power that it will transform us as we cannot transform ourselves, saving us from evil and leading us to the best that human life can ever reach? For Wyman, God was a word that he used as a shorthand answer for his ever-evolving answer to that central question. Religion in this framework is seen as a way of dedicating ourselves to personal and collective evolution. It's a structured way of responding to life in ways that bring about a better world. In Wyman's words, religion is committing oneself with the kind of self-giving called faith to what one holds to be the source of all human good, to serve and obey it above all, and to be transformed by it in any way that it may require. It is important, he continues, to notice that the word belief is not used. One commits himself to what one holds to be, not merely what one believes to be. What one holds to be the source of all human good is not determined by intellectual assent to propositions, which is a belief. It's determined by the impact of a society and a history, a tradition and a fellowship, which mold the sub-intellectual structure of personality and direct its governing propensity. I'm not going to read that one again. All y'all are lucky I made it through once. For Wyman, God, or the source of human good, is most evident in creative interchange, which is open-ended, deep conversations that have the capacity to change our perspective and transform our understandings. He outlines 4 stages to creative interchange: deep, authentic conversation, or in Wyman's words, emerging awareness of qualitative meaning derived from other persons through communication; compassionate, thoughtful understanding, or as Wyman put it, integrating these new meanings with others previously acquired; allowing our worldview to shift and change, expanding the richness of quality in the appreciable world by enlarging its meaning; and embracing our interdependence, deepening the community among those who participate in this total creative event of intercommunication. In other words, we listen, we care, and we allow ourselves, our opinions, and our worldviews, as well as our behaviors, to be transformed by the understandings we get through our relationships with others. Now, nowhere is the power of this approach more apparent than when we talk about dismantling oppression. For one person to oppress another, the oppressor needs to see the oppressed as less than, a bit player, or a plot point, not a sacred being with inherent worth and dignity, the star of their own show. If we engage in creative interchange, that illusion evaporates. Or taking it from the other direction, for a person to willingly let go of privilege and power, they need to be motivated by genuine caring and compassion, which will arise naturally when we engage in deep and caring relationships. The work of dismantling structures of oppression requires clear sight, courage, and bold action. The work of dismantling internalized oppression requires honest stories, open hearts, and authentic connection. We won't do the structural work if we haven't done the internal work, not because people are bad or evil, but because we are really good at not seeing things that don't fit into our personal narrative. So going back to the original metaphor, the moments when we're able to get beyond being writer, director, and star of our own story and embrace being a bit player or even an audience member for someone else's, those are the moments that allow us to glimpse a better, brighter future. And creating moments where opportunities for those moments to occur, that is what religion is for. And that is why we are here. Now, as you've surely noticed, Wyman tended to express key concepts using long, complicated words and phrases. There is, of course, another simpler word we might substitute for creative interchange. You guessed it. I'm talking about love. So as we act out the stories of our lives, may we be willing to improvise, ready to play and respond to reality without seeking to control it or stop the flow. May we be brave enough to break not just the third wall, but all the barriers and blinders that keep us separate from one another. Above all, may all of our stories be love stories with the happiest of happy endings. So be it, and so may it be. I invite you to rise now in body or in spirit to sing hymn number 354, We Laugh, We Cry.
To feel
answer. Our closing reading is very brief, so no sense sitting down, actually. These are the words of Annie Dillard. We're here to abet creation and to witness it, to notice each thing so each thing gets noticed. Together we notice not only each mountain shadow and each stone on the beach, but we notice each other's beautiful face and complex nature, so that creation need not play to an empty house. Thank you for spending this time with us this morning. Let's sing our musical benediction, There is Love. Two parts. Woohoo! Go in peace then, but go also in joy, and give the world whatever is inside you waiting to burst forth, because the world needs you just as much as you need the world. I love you all. Go in peace. I'll see you next week.